An affair map of Europe has been released. Yes, you heard that correctly. It shows that Italians and Spaniards are apparently the most unfaithful partners in Europe. But don't be too dismissive. The British have more affairs than the French. What is really interesting that is 32% of women have admitted betraying their partners. That's British women have admitted.
Don't you think that's really high? That's like nearly 1/3. I was really surprised by that statistic because I guess in a way we always associate, when you hear the word affairs, you associate it more with men. Because I think in my head that when a woman has an affair, it's far more serious to a marriage because the woman strays, if you like, because she's very, very unhappy in her relationship, whereas a man might, well, certain men, I suppose, not all men, certain men will stray just because the opportunity is there. So I was really...
Jane. When I was just listening to them...
Well, because all the statistics are that the instances of men having affairs are higher than women in every single country. Maybe they're just more honest.
Well, they could get out more.
32%, I thought that was pretty high.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think that people have affairs for a whole variety of reasons, and I think a lot of the time people who have the affairs are seen as the villain in the piece, but it might not necessarily be the case at all. I agree with you in that women tend to have affairs for emotional reasons. It's been well documented. I did 10 years ago, and you know, so I'd be a complete hypocrite if I sat here and didn't say anything during this chat. That was my reason. I was in a really, really bad, sad, lonely place at the time, and I found someone who was caring and kind. Absolutely not justifying it in any way, just explaining it.
But are you shocked that 1/3 of women? Because you see, you say that, and I would still say, if you said that to me, I'd think statistically sort of 10% maybe of women.
I've never really given it much thought in terms of numbers. No. I'm not. I think women are quieter about it, and I think that they would do it, for emotional reasons rather than physical reasons. And I think that a man would perhaps, is more likely, not always, sometimes men do it because they're lonely within a marriage or you know, I know I'm going to get berated for saying this, but occasionally a man might do it for feeling neglected. Don't hit me, I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying statistically that could be why. But I think more often than not with men it's physical.
Well, I don't know anything about affairs. At all. I've never lived and breathed it. But the interesting thing about affairs, we all talk about people having affairs, and I think they do it for all kinds of reasons. They might have a sex addiction or adrenaline addiction or whatever, or they might not be happy at home. So I think they should talk amongst themselves, you know, of their other half, of the reasons why they're not happy. But what we haven't spoke about is these people who have affairs, do they actually end up with the person they have affairs with as well? I'd like to see I can't say the word properly, statistics of that. Because, say like in my instance, I caught Kieran, but he never, ever wanted to be with him, even though he had a chance to. He never did. It wasn't about being with them. So
it was a purely physical thing? There wasn't an emotional connection?
So, like some people, when they get caught, I suppose it's like they have to choose. Is it the wife or the mistress?
There's so many different reasons, because I know a lot of people don't believe you when you talk about sex addiction and
No, they don't at all.
But I absolutely do. I do believe that there is such a thing as sex addiction, like there is to anything. You can be addicted to anything. And I think you know, you're so lucky to have, even though it was so painful for you to have
18 months now, and I'm so glad. You know, lots of people might wipe off and think that's it, that's the end of the relationship, but I'm so pleased. I went through it 18 months on now. My headspace is different.
You seem a lot calmer and happier.
You say he's different as well, isn't he?
He used to have a 6-pack. Now he's got a 1-pack. And, he's still good looking and I love him. But it's just, I think for him as well, getting it off his chest and... I mean, everyone will always have whatever they say about him, but I'm happy, we're happy, and I'm so happy I stayed with him.
But, Katie, nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors, and I think people
Not
can...
a lot in my house.
You know, and people can have opinions and they can outrage and they can troll on social media and do what they like, but at the end of the day, what happens between a couple behind closed dours is extremely private, and people do things for their own reason.
And he's turned into Farmer Giles, and I couldn't be any happy for him. Stripper to Farmer Giles.
Are you surprised by the 32% of women?
No, I think women could be just as bad as men. I just think it's... But I do actually agree with you when you don't really hear about women doing it. It's normally men. And like I said, I think women would get more emotionally attached, where they'd probably want more out of it.
relationship.
Whereas men, I think they can switch off.
Do you think, obviously, do you remember a few weeks ago, whatever, remember the whole Dr. Foster thing and the plot on that? And I think the thing that people were so outraged by was that it was, not only was he having an affair, but he had an affair for a 2-year period and had a proper emotional connection and a whole other life with someone else.
I think, in a way, it's a bizarre thing to say, I know, but in a way, your situation was easier to deal with because it sounds as though it was just about sex.
Whereas... But it's still two of my best friends, which was hard because...
That's a different thing.
They're being two-faced to you, and it's like...
Yeah.
And then you see that they're doing that, it's like, oh, my God, it was so, like, in your head, like... It's,
you've got the double... You've got the betrayal of your husband.
But you know what? It was just sex, wasn't it? And I think the scary word is affair, because to me, affair means a relationship, something running concurrently with that other relationship.